So if you have a child who's age 2 to 5, there is a wide range of what is kind of normal sleep. Children at this age probably need between 10 and 13 hours of sleep. Some children may get by with 8 or 9, and others may need up to 14 hours of sleep. If your child is sleeping more than 14 hours, she's probably getting too much sleep. If she's sleeping less than 8 hours, she probably needs a bit more sleep. So how do you as a parent decide what in that large range is appropriate for your child? So here's a couple things to keep in mind. If your child is able to fall asleep on her own within about 20 minutes and wakes up without an alarm clock at about the same time every day, she's probably getting enough sleep. If your child though is a bit cranky, maybe a little bit irritable, has difficulty paying attention, or is difficult to console, reacts intensely to various situations and you have a hard time calming her down, getting a little bit more sleep may be helpful. How do you do that? Well, I would suggest that you try increasing the amount of sleep that your child gets by about 15 minutes. For most families, this means putting your child to bed earlier because the morning routine is often set. You have to get up and get on with things. After 3 or 4 days with this extra 15 minutes of sleep, then increase it again by 15 minutes. I would encourage you to keep track. Have a little calendar where you just write down how much sleep your child got and any notes. See whether your child's sleep has an effect on his or her daytime behavior.